Hey guys, Ducky here, back with another video. I'm sorry for having a break. I had to take a little break because there was a little move around in my room. I have a new setup now, and the problem I was having is that my room is a lot emptier now, so I had a lot of echo. I couldn't actually record videos properly. Now it seems to be fine, I hope. I'm sorry if the quality isn't too good still. I'll try and fix it over time. Anyways, that aside, I've got some news about Artisium which I kind of want to go through. I've been teasing it a bit on the Discord server, which is linked down below if you want to join. And we are partnering with Generation 1, which is Joy's Racing League, which I will go into later, by the way, what it is. But we are partnering with that, which means a lot of different things will be changing for Artisium this month. And I just need to go over what's been changing because a lot of players won't know what's going to happen. We're also having a complete new modifier, which is going to be called Team Managers, and it's a bit more confusing than the other ones, so I'm just going to explain that as well in this video. Before we get into the new modifier, I want to introduce a new way that we'll be dealing with a few problems we've been having recently in Artisium. As most of you will know, we've been reaching 16 players quite consistently now for the past several weeks. And we got to the point last week where we had to kick, I think it was a few players out, mainly trustees who's in that Discord server, mainly because there were too many players. And the thing is, when we decide players, we try to let as many people in, but if there's one reserve spot and that the player who left may be a tier 3 on a specific team, we can't just put a tier 1 in to replace him, because then the tiers will be messed up and the teams won't be balanced. So that's the problem we've been having, that we actually had to decline players from joining, which we really don't want, because we obviously want people to be able to have fun and to play with us. Me and the staff team have been talking about this for a while now, and we came up together with an idea of how to tackle this problem, which will be groups. How is this going to work? There will be two groups of more or less equally tiered players. By that I mean that both groups have, for example, 2 tier 1s, 3 tier 3s, and maybe like 5 tier 2s, but obviously not those specific digits. Group A will be hosted by me on Hypixel, and Group B will be most likely hosted by Gray, but I've not talked to him about that yet. And this will allow us to not just have one party of 16 players, but we'll be able to have 2 parties, not obviously exactly 16 at the moment, because we're not doubling our players just yet. I'm thinking maybe like 10 players per party, something like that. It will allow us to play a lot more mini games that we weren't allowed to play now just because we had too many players. And obviously also tackles the plot problems we've been having. And I know, well, a lot of people are going to worry about the fact that this splits the community into 2 groups. And the way I want to tackle that problem from even emerging is to not actually split players into groups straight away. So how it's going to go is we're all going to join into the housing like we normally do. We're all going to be in the same call. We're going to be messing around like we always do, doing the parkour in the housing and stuff. But then just before the minigames start, we'll start splitting people up into the separate parties, which we'll have like the groups pre-planned, so we don't have to come up with it on the spot. And it's only from there that people will be split into 2 groups, and only for the minigames. Once the minigames end, we normally always used to go back into my housing and just allow people to talk, and we'll be still doing that. So don't worry about like not being with your friends. You'll still have time to talk with your friends like we always do, because obviously like friendship is like a big part of Artisium for us, so we don't want to take that away. And also the groups won't be the same every week. We want people to be like mixed with other people, so we're going to be moving the groups around more or less every week. So that's it for the groups. I hope that will just bring down all the problems that we've been having. So now we have the Team Managers modifier, which is a completely new thing. I literally came up with it like 2 days ago, and this was sparked initially by the partnership with Generation 1, so this probably wouldn't have happened if not of the partnership, so thanks for the partnership, Joy, I appreciate it. How is the modifier going to work? It's called team managers because there are 4 managers, and those are most likely going to be the 4 strongest players, but we're not too sure yet. I've not discussed that with the other staff team. And the 4 managers represent a team: red, blue, green and yellow, the main 4 teams of Hypixel basically. And you may be thinking, how is this different? We've done this before. Literally last week we had 4 teams. They had team leaders before as well. How this is different is because we now have groups, we can mess around more with how we do these things. So we don't need to be sticking to 4 players per team. We can now expand. We're actually going to have around 6 players per team, but I'll also go into the details of the players in a second. The biggest thing that differentiates team managers from just teams of 4 is that the rounds are pre-planned. Something different happens every round, and it's really different from anything we've done. Round 1 is a solo game. The players just play normally, everyone has fun, just playing solo games. But the team managers are already picked. No one knows who the managers are at this point. We're not going to announce them on the, obviously the staff team will know and the actual managers will know. We'll make sure that they don't spoil it, hopefully. But the team managers will be scouting players that they wish to have in their team. And that's what round 1 is basically for. You just want to show off as much as you can in front of the team managers to hopefully them to pick you for the team. After round 1, so between round 1 and round 2, team managers will pick 1 player from every tier that they want to have in their team. So they can pick 1 tier 1, 1 tier 2 and 1 tier 3. Then me and probably the event managers, so me, Joy and Gray, we will create teams of around 6 based on what the team managers wanted to have. But we're not obviously going to 100% pick what they pick, because that would be unfair. We don't want the team managers to have exactly the team they want. And also the team managers, well, there's a high chance that multiple team managers will probably pick the same player. So then for round 2, players are now in the teams of 6. These teams of 6 will obviously not fit in a single party, which is where groups come in. Teams will split up into 2 separate groups of around 3 people. 3 people from the team will be in group A, 3 people from the team will be in group B. This means that you're not actually teaming with your full team, because you don't even get to talk to your full team like you normally would. You only get to talk with 2 players from your team. Solo games continue, but this time, rather than earning solo points like you did in round 1, you're actually earning team points for your team to finally add up to the team leaderboard, which will only start in round 2, unlike before. Then after round 2, so in between round 2 and 3, team managers can now trade players for points, and this is going to be really interesting. We've never done it before, we've never really thought about it before, and I don't know how it's going to go. I think it's going to be fun. This is the only way that team managers can now change teams actively without people leaving teams or without people saying that they can't make it to the next week. And it's going to be really interesting to see if team managers want to trade players, or they can sell players for points, they can buy players for points, and just stuff like that. It's going to be really interesting. It's like points are not just numbers, but they're actually like a currency, and you can lose points now in replacement for maybe a better player who you think might be able to earn you those points back and maybe even more. And then round 3 is more or less the same as round 1, but this time if the players did get traded, then possibly the teams will be a bit updated. But then the games go as normally. Obviously there could be different players and different groups now, everything could be a bit messed around, but more or less it goes the same as round 2. And then round 4 is the final showdown. For round 4, we're going to merge everyone into one single group, and obviously there will be more than 16 players, so that's going to be a problem. The way we can get through this problem is team managers will have to promote 4 players for each minigame, because that's more or less how many players can fit into a single minigame, which will make up 16 players overall for each minigame. But then, to make sure that team managers don't just promote the best players for every minigame, there's a rule that every player must play at least 2 minigames in that week. And there will probably be less minigames than normally, just because we'll have to pause in between every minigame unlike before. Which means that hopefully every player gets to spend quite a good time playing games still and not just waiting for the team to finish. But we might have like some kind of spectate option, like someone screen sharing, or maybe Joy will be live streaming, I don't know yet. And then after the normal round 4, we obviously have the finals, like we always do every week. No, not every week, every round 4. How the finals will go is a bit similar to last week again. The bottom 2 teams will fight each other in a Bed Wars 4v4 game. This means again that team managers have to promote the 4 players that they choose. They can't have the whole team fighting. And then the top 2 teams will also fight in a 4v4 game, which means that the team leaderboard might actually change based on the finals, because a team could win and obviously they get more points. Maybe they were already higher than the other team in the leaderboard, but if the other team got more kill points, there's a chance that the teams could actually mess around on the leaderboard. It could completely change, it could stay the same, we don't know. And after these 2 finals, the top 2 teams, who are now point-wise the first 2 teams on the leaderboard, will then fight in a 4v4 the bridge game, which we've never done before, we've never tried it. It's going to be interesting. The winner of this game then wins the whole tournament, not just based on points, but the actual winner of that singular game wins the whole tournament. So that's about the whole of Team Manager's modifier, and that was quite a lot of detail. I hope I didn't talk too much again, because I normally do. But then let's skip to the partnership with Generation 1 and what that means for Artisium. So I'm just going to quickly say again what Generation 1 is. Generation 1, or in short G1, is recently created by Joy. He does it on a separate server, and it's kind of like a simulated racing Formula 1 themed league where drivers are just competing, but the drivers are simulated and they're competing for, well, the podium, like normally in F1. It's a fun twist on Formula 1, I think. It's got custom teams, custom cars, liveries, drivers, and it's such a cool way to get people involved in Formula 1 based thing without it being Formula 1, and with just custom everything, and without having to have the experience of driving a car, or if they don't have the game, for example. It's a really nice community as well. I'm going to link the Discord down below if you want to check it out maybe, which you should, to give Joy a bit of support, because this partnership is bringing a lot to Artisium, so we hope to bring a lot to G1 as well in return. So what does G1 mean for Artisium? First of all, I think the biggest thing is obviously themed skins. We have themed skins more or less every week almost. We used to have them every week. Last month we had a complete 1 month Star Wars theme, so we had themed skins. For here we'll be having outfits similar to G1 drivers, which is going to be really cool. The second thing that it means is themed teams. So we used to always have team names, but they weren't really that specific other than last month. For this month we're going to have just 4 teams obviously. The red team is going to be Ferrari, blue team is representing Audi, green team is representing Monster Energy, and yellow team is representing Renault. The third thing that it means for us is themed player roles within teams. And what that means is that with the new team managers modifier, we actually have roles for the players within a team. Mainly it's actually just for Bed Wars, since Bed Wars is like our main game, I think. And the themed roles for this month will be that team managers will actually be called team principals, as inspired by G1. The 2 rushers in the team will actually be called the drivers, since there are 2 drivers in Generation 1 per team. And the defender will be actually called the mechanic. The fourth thing we have is themed round names. So normally it'd be round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, or week 1, 2, 3, 4. Whereas now we're calling round 1 pre-season testing. Round 2 will be nicknamed qualifying. Round 3 will be nicknamed the race, and round 4 will be nicknamed podium. And obviously the fifth thing is hopefully we hope to link 2 communities together that are really nice communities, really chill communities, friendly people in both. And we've always wanted to link communities together. That's basically what Artisium was built on in the first place. So I was hoping for the video to be quite short. It's probably not going to be short. I hope I just about covered everything now. If you've got any more questions about Generation 1 partnership, about the team managers modifier, or about the new group system we're going to be introducing, you can always join the Discord server down below and ask any of the staff team, maybe even some of the players, and they'll probably be able to explain to you anything. And that aside, I think that's about it. I hope you guys like this video, like and subscribe if you did, of course. And I hope to see you guys this week on Saturday for round 1 of July. If you want to watch a playlist, you can click on the top right of the screen. If you want to watch my last video, click on the bottom right. And I will see you guys on Sunday. Bye!